today I will be speaking about offline progressive web apps with PouchDB. And my name is François Nicaise. Okay. So I will first explain what makes a website, a progressive web application. So, according to Google, which is a main supplier for every requirement about progressive web applications, a progressive web application needs to be available everywhere. It means on your tablet, on your desktop, on your phone, everywhere. And it has to be responsive. Maybe you are doing a web design, so you know what we are talking about. Responsive, it means that it has to fit on any kind of device. Okay? It's also a matter of connectivity, which means that your application must be available and must work online and offline, which is something very interesting for. Then it has to feel like an application. It means that users they know how to get applications on their smartphone using the Play Store or the App Store, okay? And they just want a big icon with a lovely name, so it feels like an application. Then it has to be fresh, meaning it has to be easy to update contents. So the application will always be updated from some remote server, okay? But it has to know how to refresh its own contents, just like when you update an application with the Play Store or the App Store. It has to be safe. You know, when we are working on the internet, we would like all the connections to use HTTPS, which is secure requests. It has to be installable. I don't know how to say in English because I'm French, you know. I'm sorry for my accent, but installable? Yeah, installable? Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're installable. So, which means that we have to allow the user to actually install the application, meaning we have to give him some shortcut to get the icon for the application to actually appear on his, for instance, his smartphone. Here I can show you. It's a very modern smartphone with many real good applications. And this icon represents a progressive web application. So it looks like an app because there's an icon, okay? And it has to be linkable, which means if I want to share this application with my friends, for instance you here, I only have to give you an URL. So for instance, the FableConf URL, so you can get the application easily. Okay? So if you respect all these things, your web application will become a progressive web application. So here is something which you may know. It's a very famous website where you can. Ah, okay. Well, you can make sure that the technology you are going to use is actually available on all the browsers you want to target. So here, the good news is that nowadays, progressive web applications are available for quite every browser, Edge, Firefox, Chrome, and etc., except Opera. But, okay. So now the question you all have in mind, because I can read in your minds, is how does one make a progressive web application? There are many ways to do that. The first way we used to use a lot several years ago was to sacrifice some animal, yeah, and then to make some prayers, yeah, and eventually it would become a progressive web application. But now we've got modern tools, yeah, to the rescue. So, of course, this is FableConf. So I will be promoting Fable, okay? Even the RemmiDemmi track, I'm sorry about it. So let's use Fable, because it's great. Okay, So the first step when you are building a progressive web application is to prepare a manifest file. The manifest file is just a simple JSON file where you will describe your application. As you see, it's very, very easy. So for instance, I've got this amazing application whose name is The Amazing Adventures of Alfonso in California. And so you can see here the short name for the application. So this will be the name you will see on your smartphone, for instance. Then you get the source for the icons. You can see it's a PNG. You get the start URL because here we are using a single page application. So we'll start from an HTML file, which will be displayed in full screen and in portrait mode. Okay, no problem with that? It's clear? Okay. Then we like to cache resources because we want our application to work offline. So we don't want to fetch something from the internet if we don't have any internet connection. Okay, so here, basically, we'll prepare a cache for our Fable application, okay? So we'll set a cache name, very simple, and some resources. For instance, in my web application, I want to use some font, and I want to use some polyfill, and I want to use my generated Fable application. And when that is done, okay, I just have to add this to my browser cache. So it means that I'm installing the application into my browser through the use of a service worker. So here you can cache whatever file you need. Then, so the service worker is going to help you do things in a smart way. For instance, here I want to make sure that if there is something the user is asking for, okay, and if the cache has changed, I want to actually delete the old cache and make a new cache, okay, to cache new resources. So if I come back there, if I change my resources list, I just have to change my cache name. So with service workers, I will update my cache. And then when the user is using the application, we will try to see if the resource is asking for is available in the cache. So here, we just have to browse inside. And if it's not the case, we will try to fetch the resource. Okay, so basically, we can actually create service workers in Fable. It's possible. And we then can convert them to service worker JavaScript file. And then it will be easy to call this file from your standard Elmish Fable application. So I don't know if you are all very fluent with Elmish and Fable. Everybody knows about Elmish? Okay. Except Isaac, yeah. Yeah, I know it's stuff, yeah. Okay, so here you see you've got your standard Elmish application, and here you just have to register your JS, which was generated using F# and Fable. Okay, so now, yeah, you're done. Your application is progressive, except a few details, but you will see that later when you will make your progressive web application. Now, my talk was about progressive web application and PouchDB, because I'm creating applications for my customers, and sometimes they want to be able to actually create data in the application without any internet connection, which is a kind of problem. So usually I solve this using some other things like SQLite or maybe local storage or things that were not very, very interesting. But now we've got these modern technologies. And we have this store, which is CouchDB. Do you know CouchDB? Okay. So CouchDB is not working in the browser, but I I will explain to you why I'm speaking about CouchDB. So it's a relaxed, no SQL replicated HTTP JSON data server. It means that you are going to be able to store data. It's a data store, in fact. Okay, very, very easy. It's a JSON first because you will only store JSON objects. Okay, so in CouchDB database, you can mix whatever JSON you want. For instance, I can create a user database, and there I will be able to store all kinds of JSON, whatever type. It's possible. For instance, here I've got this JSON object, and here I've got another one. So you can see the type is different. And then we can call the CouchDB API through HTTP requests. And it's very convenient because I was looking for a remote server where I could actually create data using fetch or promises or whatever I could use to make a HTTP request. So it's something I feel very, very convenient. I don't have to download some library to actually be able to use the data store. I can just use whatever library I want to just make HTTP requests. So here, CouchDB works with standard HTTP verbs like get if you want to request the item. You can use put to create new item, delete, and copy. So you see, basically it's very easy to understand. You use HTTP verbs and you know what you are going to do. So everything can be done through HTTP calls. For instance, here we get the JSON object. So I'm going to start a get HTTP request, and I'm going to ask for this resource, who's the best. So this is the ID of the resource, okay? And here you can see I totally failed my sample because I should have who's the best there, okay? And so basically you get this JSON answer with a 200 okay response. Then you can create object using put, okay? And you get your answer. You can even delete. So you see it's, for instance, here we had this problem with Isaac. We wanted to go to Opera, but we had to delete this choice. Yeah, but maybe next year. Yeah, Cine Opera. Yeah, it's fine. It's a bit far. Yeah, maybe it's, Robert is, okay. Will you help us with that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good, okay.
Also, I don't like spiders.
But do you like the snakes? No, neither, okay. So maybe not Cine. Okay, and using CouchDB, you can also have users and authentications through standard HTTP cookies. For instance, here I'm going to ask to log in with this user, which is admin, which has this wonderful password. And then you can have roles, and it's all inside the CouchDB. So that's very, very convenient because I don't need to do anything apart using just the data store. Everything's inside, and I can call this through HTTP requests. So it's very convenient. Now I'm going to speak about replication, which is a very interesting topic. And this is the main strength of CouchDB. In fact, CouchDB started as an IBM project. I'm sorry, we are at Microsoft today, but we can say that somehow it takes its roots from Domino, IBM Domino. Do you know Domino Server? Yeah. You remember XML? Yeah, okay. Yeah, but they changed that, but it's a philosophy, you see. But the good part. Yeah, okay. No Java, yeah. Okay, no XML, yeah. So, the Couch protocol allows to make replication between databases. So it can be one way, source destination, and you can replicate data in a bi-directional way. It means that you get some data in the database 1, database 2, and up, you can send the data both ways. Okay. So here we got our CouchDB server. So it's basically it's a Linux box. Okay. You've got your CouchDB daemon which is installed, and inside you get all these databases. Okay. And you can make replication between the local databases inside the same server. So it's very convenient. Then you can, of course, make replication between remote servers. So it works exactly the same way. You can even make filtered replication. That's very interesting. So you remember, in a database, it's basically a JSON store, and you can put whatever JSON you want. But if you wish, you can filter the JSON. So for instance, here, in my database 2, I get games, JSON objects, scores, players, whatever. And here, I will only replicate games. So I can pre-filter. It's like views, okay? And we can even have we got this model of one database per user. So since databases are very cheap in CouchDB, they are saying that, oh, you can have one database per user. So I never tried with 10 millions of users, but still, the protocol is made to handle this kind of situation. Okay, so here I've got another sample. So we are in the same CouchDB server, okay? And here we got many databases, player 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay? And we can group only the games through filtered replication to some central database. So for instance, if you only want scores for your players, you will take just scores from your player databases, and you will have this main repository. So now, to make the link with Progressive Web Application, because you are here to hear me talking about this, we can use the same protocol in the browser too, through a very good technology, which name is PouchDB. So yeah, I know it's very difficult to remember. So it was CouchDB, now it's going to be PouchDB. So yeah, they change the letter. Yeah, sometimes it's and they change the icon. You can see. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Don't ask me. I don't know what it is. Huh? Maybe a horse or what?
Pouch.
It's a pouch. Yeah, because I'm French. I never tried to translate pouch, so it's a pouch. And what is a pouch in France? French guys? No?
Bag.
Hmm?
Kind of bag.
Some kind of?
Kind of bag, small bag.
Ah, okay. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, now I know what a pouch is.
But maybe that's a kangaroo.
Yeah, we don't know.
Kangaroos have pouches.
Yeah.
It has pouches.
It's a?
It's a kangaroo, it must be because they have the pouch.
Ah, hey. What kind of kangaroo? Because you know in Australia there are many kinds. Okay, so we'll set for a kangaroo with a pouch. So PouchDB is basically CouchDB in your browser. Yeah. So we can now, with modern browsers, we got all these locations to store information. We've got WebSQL, which you will forget now. And we've got IndexedDB, which is a convenient store to put all our JSON. So IndexedDB is available in quite every browser except Opera Mini. I don't know why. Yeah, but maybe they don't like these kind of technologies. So now we will do exactly the same thing as we've done with CouchDB, but in our browser. Yeah, in the Kangaroo. So here, instead of having a CouchDB server, a CouchDB Linux box, now you get your browser, whether it be Safari, Chrome, Edge, whatever. Okay, and you've got all your little DBs very happy inside your browser. And you can do exactly the same thing. You can synchronize data between the web browser and remote CouchDB. Exactly the same thing. But you can even synchronize like this. It's exactly the same thing. So basically, I changed the colors. You see? Okay. Yeah. I did the web browser, but it's exactly the same philosophy. So if you understand the philosophy for CouchDB, you will understand for PouchDB. They call this the Couch protocol because basically there are PouchDB, CouchDB, but there is also a Cloudon from IBM, and there are several tools which you use the exact same protocol. Okay, so here the same. You can synchronize all the players. So this is a database inside your browser. Okay, so for instance, player 1 is playing on his wonderful Fable game on his Chrome browser. And so we are storing his games, etc., etc. And then we can push data, synchronize with a remote CouchDB server. And we can even filter like we did to get only the games, etc., etc., etc. Okay, 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 okay. I'm not using the good boot button. I'm sorry. Okay. So, are you convinced by the technology? It's very modern, it's trendy, it's kind of fashion, no? Okay. Yeah. And of course, you know, I told you I can read minds. For instance, I can read into your mind. Something like, yes, that's exactly that. Yeah. You can have direct communication between your browser and the CouchDB server, meaning you don't need any web server. Don't look at me, Isaac. Yeah. Okay, no web server, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. At least, it can be something very interesting for some kind of projects because you can handle something using the web server, but maybe you just want to communicate directly with data server without using anything between. Oh yeah, it works. So you can directly communicate between the PouchDB, the local PouchDB, and the remote CouchDB. Okay, so now in order to make a little conclusion now, okay? So with a progressive web application, you can use the web app offline. With PouchDB, you can consume and store data offline. So really, you can create data, it will be stored in the browser, and then when you get your internet connection back, you will be able to synchronize. It's a very neat feature. And with CouchDB, then you can get the data from all your users. Okay, so here you get something which is quite complete to make offline applications. Okay, so of course it's not cheap. Okay, you have to use new tools and maybe to think about things a little bit in a different fashion. So it will need some practice, but it's not that difficult because you're just working with JSON files, and I know everybody is working with JSON files every day, every month, every year. Yeah, I know how difficult it can be. Yeah, so here it's a very good technology to work with JSON everywhere, all days long. It's very good. Yeah. Okay, so now I have prepared for you a little frequently asked question. So I will ask question and I will give answer. Yeah, because it's faster like this. Yeah. Last year at FableConf, we had these microphones and people were asking things. Oh, it was boring. And so I decided to get modern. Okay.
And also you can read minds.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Robert is asking, oh, so you can make your PouchDB applications with Fable. Yes, definitely. Fable is your tool of choice to make PouchDB-based applications. Yes, Robert.
Thank you for answering that question, man.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. So it means I can use CouchDB plus F#. It's a bad question. Who asked this? Oh no. Why? Of course, if you can use Fable, it's F#, the same language. Yeah, I know. It can be difficult sometimes. So I was telling you that the Couch protocol is available in different stacks. In fact, you have CouchDB server, which will work on any box. And you can also have PouchDB server, which implements the same protocol. So you can choose whatever you want. And there is another Couch-based server, which is IBM Cloudant. Well, basically, it's a CouchDB with all the DevOps stuff, very convenient, very expensive, etc., etc. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a real-life application.
So are you going to start it rain now?
What?
Are you starting to let it rain now?
To what?
To rain. Is it going to start to rain now?
Yeah, of course. But first you will have to dance. You should be following when I'm talking, please, Robert, because I explained everything. Yeah. Take some animal, kangaroo, whatever, and you have to cut his neck, you know? Okay. So here I've got this application, which is a metrology application. Do you know metrology? No, you don't know? No. Okay, metrology is it's a science where you are going to make sure that the device you want to use is actually working. Okay? So basically, if I bought this clicker, okay? I want to make sure it will work. So I will make tests to prove that it actually works, even if it's working. Okay? So that's metrology. Okay? So basically, we've got people we are going everywhere in France, and they are going to customers to test their machine. For instance, they may be this kind of things. They can come here, take tools. Okay, it should be working when I turn the button, and then I should feel heat. So they've got all these sensors to make sure it is actually working. Okay. So they are going to their customers, they are making their test, and then they are creating what we call a certificate. I'm sorry, it's a French-based application, so everything is in French, but I think it's very important for you to start learning French today. Yeah, I know, because you know it's well, the best language, obviously. So, after German, of course. Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, but yeah. So basically, they are going to make some certificates. So here, I'm going to make one. Oh, so it's a Fable application. Okay, I'm going to choose a client, some hardware to test, make some serial number, okay, and then I can save and print, and it outputs some PDF files on the client. Okay, and so basically, how does it work? So, like I told you, we got this a manifest file, which is the entry point to your progressive web application. Okay, so here I don't know if it's big enough. Can you read? Yeah. Okay. So my manifest file is the same file I showed you previously. So my application name, I can put application name, short name. It starts with an HTML file, and then orientation, portrait, and etc., and all the icons. Then, yeah, here in Chrome, we got this service for workers tab, which allows me to see if I've got my service worker activated. So it's an important tab, in fact, to see if your registration is correct. Okay. Well, here for this application, it's not really correct, but I wanted to show you a sample because, you know, just before I went to Berlin, I had to make some changes. And so I introduced some bugs because I was quite in a kind of hurry, and I didn't test very well my application. So it should be working. It's working, but not working like perfectly working. Okay?
So you did it for RemmiDemmi, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you can see there's a service worker JS file with 10 errors. Okay, but you've got the green dot. It's very important because when you see the green dot, you can see into the core things, into the matrix. Okay. Okay, and then you've got this tab, which is very interesting. So, like I told you, when we are using PouchDB, we are storing everything in IndexedDB, and thanks to Chrome tools, and you have quite the same tools in Firefox too. Okay, but here I'm using Chrome because it's a little bit easier to read. Okay, so here you can see that I've got all my databases. For instance, I have a client's databases, locations, hardware, etc., etc., etc. And if I open the tab, I can see that I've got a local store, and okay, all my JSON data are in the document store. So if you can see that in your browser, it also means you can delete all this information. In fact, it's very important to remember that everything that will be stored into the browser can be deleted. Okay, so it's very temporary, but it allows the application to work offline. Okay, so okay. And the last thing you can't see here. Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, red color is because I like red, of course, obviously. Yeah. Don't you like red? Red is fine. Yeah. At least it's trying. Okay, so it's okay. Yeah. And so the PDF file I generated, it uses some JSON which has been sent to a remote store, and I will show you the remote store, which is not red. I'm sorry. Okay. So here for CouchDB and the Cloudant, you get this wonderful user interface, which is named Foxton, yeah, which basically allows you to check your data. For instance, here I've got this user, and okay, here I'm into a user database, and I can see clearly all the JSON objects. Okay. I've got many. Okay, so when I saved my certificate, okay, it actually saved it in the browser, okay, and then I tested if it was online too, and I replicated the data to this CouchDB server, okay. So it's very convenient. And when I'm offline, of course, the data will only be saved into the browser. And when I get back online, I will be able to synchronize with CouchDB. Okay? Okay. So, yeah, of course. So now your question was, but will be, yeah.
What's about security?
Say? Security. Yeah? Ah.
Security.
Yeah, of course. HTTPS. Secure. Yeah. I mean, on the TV, they always say HTTPS, secure. So I'm using the same, no? Okay. Yeah, security. Yeah, Tim, tell me about security. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if everybody can just delete the browser files. Is that
Yeah.
possible, or can you do something?
Yeah. In fact, you cannot synchronize like this. You have user management. So it means that every time you try to synchronize with the CouchDB remote server, you have to authenticate, okay, through a cookie or whatever the scheme. So if the user is unknown, or if you don't have the good credentials, of course you will get some error message. Yeah, you get this. Yeah, of course. But HTTPS, yeah, it's secure, encrypted. Yeah, okay. So your question, yeah, I'm sorry, your question, okay, not. Yeah, your question was, yeah, I would like to start to make a progressive web application, yes, using the safe stack. Yeah, safe stack. So, yeah, we got some guy, Diego Esmelio, you know Diego?
I know.
Yeah, okay, I mean, same. So, he actually made a safe template using Fable. So this is a repository. And then I started a repository myself some months ago, which is called Fable PWA, because I'm using Fable and it's all about PWA, okay? Yeah, because I like, when it comes to naming conventions, I always refer to Zaid. Yeah, he knows everything about naming conventions. If you start, for instance, you start a project with Fable, and then whatever, okay? F#, and then whatever, okay? It's easy, yeah. Okay, so here I tried to put a lot of documentation regarding a progressive web application. Something I learned using them. It's not complete, but at least I think there can be information that could be useful for you, maybe if you are starting. Okay, and it's not really up to date, meaning the service worker part is still in JavaScript. Even if I use the Fable part in my application. So I will update it real soon, so you can have the whole package with only F# and Fable, no JavaScript. It's a promise, okay? No var, okay? No semicolons, okay? Okay. Okay, no, okay. Okay, and of course I've been using PouchDB for months now, and I've got these Elmish helpers, which are kind of ready, but not, how did you say yesterday evening? It's not clean enough for... Yeah, so I'm going to release a version for PouchDB, so you will be able to use PouchDB for Fable 2. Hopefully, yeah. Okay, so you can. I will put the news on my Twitter account if you are interested. And wait. What time is it? Okay, we started at 2 o'clock. Okay. Yeah, we've got 1 minute for questions. Yeah.
So, security.
Yeah.
Where do we store user credentials when you need to authenticate?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a question?
Yeah. Where do you store
Ah, okay.
When you authenticate.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, well, the easiest way to start is to use cookie authentication, because the CouchDB is providing cookies easily. So you prepare your user on the CouchDB servers, and then you just have to authenticate. We've got some convenient libraries which are handling authentication for every request to the CouchDB server. It's named PouchDB Authentication. Yeah, PouchDB Authentication. Okay. So basically, every request that will be made to a remote server will use authentication. It will check if the user has already logged in, and if the cookie is still available, if everything. Okay, but it's kind of basic, but it works. Does it answer your question? Okay.
The PDF that you generate, are you doing that on the server or?
No, client. Yeah, client side. It's a JS PDF library. I've got some some helpers for that too. Yeah.
Fable PDF?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fable PDF. Yeah, that's a good name. Yeah. 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 Yesterday evening, we thought that Maxime is the best one, because he knows how to make names. Yeah, create names. Fuma. Yeah. Tot. Very good. Yeah. It's better than Fable, JS PDF, and etc. Anyway, so it's a client side. It was important because this application has to work offline. So they need to be able to create the PDF while they are on site. Yeah.
Are you trusting all the documents someone is doing your application from client to server? Like if I manipulate my high score?
Well. You can encrypt. Well, we can do many things. For instance, you can encrypt all the data inside the database. It's already it has a secure library for PouchDB, which allows you to encrypt everything, so you cannot modify data. The thing is, here I'm using it's a alpha pre-prod version, so basically everything is clear. It's only used by several users, so no problem now. But yes, it's very important that you can encrypt everything, because yes, you can change, modify the data if you wish, of course, since you can read it. Of course, there's nothing. Okay.
Does the synchronization work in both ways? Like if another client pushes something to the CouchDB, it's important for all other sides.
Yeah. Actually, we do have databases that will be updated by administrators. And so these databases, the contents are shared among all users. So how does it work? The administrator, the admin, will, for instance, add a new JSON object to the CouchDB database, and then it will synchronize to all users. Yeah. So it's one way, and then it synchronizes all the way down.
Then you would have databases for clients which synchronize only the other way around. So you don't have databases which would be both ways. We try to separate them.
Yeah, we could do that. It would be possible. Well, the problem it's possible. You can synchronize both threads, no problem. But then you have to handle all the stuff about conflicts. Yeah. In CouchDB, it's very interesting because every time you update a JSON, it's going to create a new revision. Okay. So basically, when you fetch the data from the databases, so when you fetch your JSON objects, you've got this revision field, which is very important. Because sometimes, if two users are updating the same content, of course, you will have a conflict. Conflicts are not like Git conflict. It's basically it's just like some user forked the data, and so now what am I going to do? Am I going to merge the data or delete, or it's up to the it's up either to the user or the developer to choose what he's going to do with that conflict. But we get HTTP code for that, which is 401. Yeah, when you get this, yeah, 409, yeah, 409. So when you get 409, it's a conflict, and then your application will match. Yeah, yeah. Meaning that you always have to fetch the last version. Yeah, yeah. Meaning also, I'm sorry, yeah. Meaning also that the CouchDB server will store all the revisions for your JSON files. So this is not a problem, at least at start, but if you modify often some files and many files, it can take a lot of space, in fact. Yeah. So that's why I said it's a different kind of philosophy, because when we try to see how the user is going to use the application, are we going to share all the data? Are we going to allow the user to actually update the data? And if that's the case, what is what are we going to do with conflict? It's a very different mindset. But if you use to Git, somehow it's logical. Is it okay? Okay. Another question? Yeah.
Are there any limitations for the space the databases take?
No, that's very interesting, because now with this modern technology, we don't have limitations. A few years ago, we did have on iOS, for instance, iOS browsers, we had this 50 megabytes, and then we had to ask the user if he wanted to store more data, but now it works no problem. Yeah, so it's good, and especially on desktop or tablets, it's very, very convenient. You can store plenty of data, JSON, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So if I understand, sometimes you have to delete to clean, to save the information in the browser.
Mm-hmm.
And does it happen also in your CouchDB, which is remote? But at the end, if you have 2 years of whatever JSON version is in it, will it quite automatically clean or something like that?
Well, no. You as a developer, you have to choose what you are going to do. You cannot. The user can delete the data whenever he wants, and you have to make sure that all the data will be replicated to the remote CouchDB server. But then, if the user never cleans his cache, for instance, or never deletes any IndexedDB data, then yeah, he may end up with a big database in his browser with so many files. Yeah, but it's up to you to choose. Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, thank you very, very much for attending this talk.